Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So today, I'm just gonna talk some things, you know, talk about some things. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my neck. Sorry guys. So let's talk about my life. Okay. Shit. How would I get into trading, stuff like that. So, you know, the way I got into trading is pretty different than I think it is more like how to say a getting how do you say people saying me to get it. So let me tell you a story. So when I was like 14, 13 years old, I was at my mom's house and my uncle was trading there. And he called me to his room saying, asking me, do you know about compounding? And I said, I've learned about it in my social science class. And he said, okay, so do you know how it works? And I said, I don't know. And he just explained some things about, like, how do I say, what did he explain? He said that if you put this much money when you are in this age, and if you wait 15 years, you can make up to this much just from compounding. Okay, so then a curiosity sparked in my mind, asking me that how this thing work. And I talked with him, and he said, "Learn trading then. It might be good. You know, it is a good skill to get into." Like he have been trading for at least 5 to 6 years, so basically he's profitable. I'm not saying he isn't, but in a way, he is more experienced than me. But since a young age, I usually like some complex things to do, like especially in the COVID-19 era. I got into Rubik's Cube, chess. My elo in chess was like how do I say 800, 900. My personal best in Rubik's Cube was 15 seconds, which is nuts. Thinking back right now, that mindset helped me develop a liking to this field. You know, as once Newton said, I think this story goes like this. Okay, so Newton, I actually like physics. I'm a physics guy, not like hardcore physics guy, but I like the theories and just to ask what if. And basically, what I like the most in physics field is astrophysics, like space stuff. You know, in nights when nighttime get in, how do I say this? When it becomes night, I just go up on my house on top of the terrace, and I just lay down there and look at the skies and stars and just talk about my shit. I bring I bring a notebook when I go up, and I just draw the constellations and predict what is that. It might be Sagittarius. It might be like what was it again? Aquarius. I don't know. I don't know everything, but I'm just learning to look at the constellations and stuff like that. I just do that. I just love looking at the skies and just yapping about some things. Okay, so for example, let's say that there is another guy like me in another world who's sitting in the terrace and looking at me and me looking at him. There's a possibility we can't deny it, right? Like we can't say that we are the only species which has brain and can think and can make stuff. Can't you say that? We haven't actually discovered everything in this universe, even though everyone says that this thing is definitive. Like for example, one thing I had in my mind for a while is when I learned about you know some elements in the chemistry in periodic table. So after the F block series, there is a specific series where new elements are you know how do I say jotted down. So there's like Seaborgium. Like I think in 2018 they actually didn't have names. They were like named in the IUPAC format. So like if its atomic number is 106, it's like unil 106 is unilini unilini something. Let me just check it out. I think it's like this. So 106 is I think uni nili hep hexinium. I think it's something like this. Yeah. I don't know the correct. I I'm not saying I don't know, but I forgot about that. Like not forgot completely forget. But I know the concept behind it. But yeah, and it is said that Sebogium is not really how to say stable in here, like in everywhere. So when they actually find out, the Sebogium element through the how to say particle accelerators, like how do I say particle colliders, they just estimated that if it is not stable here, it is not stable everywhere in the universe. Like, okay, true, basically, if you live in the same universe and same reality, so it might not work, right? But, we can always say what if or but, right? Like, you know, but what if it exists in a planet and it is like a higher metal? It is used for so many things. We can't just deny the fact that it is not gonna exist everywhere because it is non-stable in our Earth. Like there is so many what ifs, but it is actually true because in a way, if it's not stable in our planet, it might not be stable in so many other conditions. But the way that Seaborgium was made here, I think they're in space in our universe or in if there's multiverses like in Marvel's multiverses, there would be a chance that a similar planet would have certain conditions that this element could be made out of, like a raw material up in there. We can't deny it. We can't actually deny it. But we can see that, it might not happen. It might be not true because if it's not, stable here, it might not be stable. So let's get to the thing. So, at that moment, I saw some videos in YouTube. The first video I saw was Trading for Dummies. I don't know who was the YouTuber who behind it, but he explained like the candlestick analogy, like there's wick, there's shadow, there's body, green candles open and close, stuff like that. And after that, I learned about patterns, you know, basic roads of trader in the market. And I thought when I saw that, when I saw like the pattern stuff, I thought it was pretty easy. I thought it was like pretty easy, like you know, saying. Let me show you an example. So I learned about inverted hammer, some pregnant woman. I don't know. The Japanese, it is a Japanese term, but basic ideas. So I think here's a inverted hammer. It shows that you know if it's above the wick, it indicates something like a downtrend or something like that. And I thought it was okay. So is it only that? And started to trade in some game type trading apps. I didn't know it was like that, but I was curious about that. Like, I was like genuinely curious. And I traded, and in that game, I made like a bit of profits here and there. And I told my mom that, mother, if we make this, if you actually give me permission to trade in an actual account, I would make millions. I was him. I thought I was him, bro. I actually thought I was him. And I actually opened a Demat account in my mom's name, and I traded here and there. I generally I didn't have any losses in that account. I started with 500 rupees, and I ended the trade in the account by making it into, how do I say, 700 rupees. I think I gotta check it out. I gotta fact check that from my archives, and it was genuinely fun because I was scared about the market because it was moving really violently, especially in the stock market in India too. And I usually looked at stocks which actually is lower priced, like its per share price was like, I always look for like 5 rupees, 60 rupees, shares, and I traded there. I only made like 1 rupees, 2 rupees profit, and still I had a really good exponential growth because I had that mindset of keeping it grinding. Like I didn't become greedy or something like that. But after that, I stumbled upon uh, I am so embarrassed to say this, but ICT. Okay, so I'm gonna say this: ICT strategies, when the gaslighting behind it is actually crazy. Like, how do I say that? They would say something like this. So there's a liquidity here. The market is really meant to go down there and pick that liquidity and go up there. Like, it is more like they're saying that it is definitely gonna work all the time. But the concept behind it is actually true because liquidity pools, ideas behind it is actually true. Imbalances like fair value gaps and stuff like that. Fair value gap, I don't actually trust that, but you see a fair value gap here, right? There's an exact fair value gap here, and there is no trend up. You see that? That is bullshit. And you know, I learned that, and I thought patterns was shit. ICT was a true god, and bam, I actually opened an account. I had 5,000 rupees in my hand, 5,000. I was 16 years old, and first day, first day of trading, I made 300 rupees. First day, starting actual trading, I made 300 rupees. I thought I was gold. I made that much money. I was really hyped. I listened to funk music and I imagined myself as a billionaire who is sitting in front of, some huge buildings and drinking some coffee and shit, and laptop in front of me, and I'm just looking at the sky, shit like that. I was super hyped. And I had a bit of a streak. I made 100 rupees, 50 rupees, 60 rupees, like that. But eventually, greed took upon me, and I fucked up and lost 2,000 rupees. Yeah, I made 5,000 rupees to 3,000. So to make break to, I didn't even try to break even. I just stopped right there, and I reflected on myself, and I said to myself, trading is not easy. It is challenging. You gotta have an understanding of the market in your way that actually makes sense. And I took like a 1 week leave from it. Like, shit, it was destroying my mental peace because I have 5,000 and I made it that 5,000 to 3,000, which is actually crazy. Like 2,000 rupees loss is not simple thing for a 16-year-old. Okay, and I was like, okay, I was literally devastated, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop this for a while. And after that, I was just really demotivated, and I thought trading was not my thing. But I my dad talked with me, and he said, you can stop whenever you want, but the thing is that every mistake unless is a lesson to becoming something else. And that actually gave me motivation because I thought, okay, so even if it's a mistake, I have to learn from it, right? I have to get up on my feet and I just gotta make it out from that, right? And okay, and I stood up, okay, and I actually really sat down. First thing I did was I sat down and I opened a chart and I visualized it. I visualized it. And I usually trade in 5 minutes chart, you know, basically a intraday trader, stuff like that. But I go into 1 hour chart time frames. But that moment, I realized something. I realized a pattern. So if you go to 5 minutes chart, usually ICT explains that there's like fair value gaps that you can get here, and you can see that clearly that happened here. You have fair value gap, blah blah blah, going down, stuff like that. But if you come to higher time frame, it is not gonna simply happen that much. Even if you say this is a fair value gap and the market actually going down, it is not down. Okay, it's consolidating. You don't make any profit out of it. Okay, and I stumbled upon waters, and I made my life goal to understand the market. And I'm still learning. I'm not saying that I became that guy that actually predicts the market really well, that nobody can match me, and I'm that guy. I gotta make YouTube videos teaching them selling courses. Like, I don't sell courses, I don't want to sell courses. And even though I feel like I'm selling courses, that would be shit because I'm not that experienced, and I'm saying the truth. But after realizing some stuff about trading, I realized that indicators are useful, but for only just confirmations. But there are some basic strategies that you gotta know while you're trading. Okay, but I was talking to myself. Talking to myself, I mean like talking to ChatGPT. Like, that's my dude, right? Like, that's my guy. You feel me? And you know, I thought I asked him. I asked that ChatGPT that you know markets are weird, but it's an actual job behind it. Like, you know, I usually see jobless people doing these kind of things. I haven't heard about a man who has a job on this thing, like a company, a actual firm, and they actually do the work to make money out of this. I didn't know that. I only know about, like, stock exchanges like NSE, BSE in India. And I stumbled upon quantitative finance. I was 16. And right now I'm 18. So, like, exactly, how do I say, 1 year, 2 year, 2 year. Yeah, 2 year. And I asked myself, I asked, it was actually doubt. What is quantitative finance? And he actually said they use mathematical, stuff, mathematical or just data analytics. Like, they, what it actually explained was they use some models to predict the market. So basically, mathematics stuff. probability. And I didn't actually realize that. Usually people think mathematics is shit. Like, when you take a degree on it, people in India usually says that, what you gonna do with that? Like, engineering is much more better. You can get a job, you can get a highly paid job. But, you know, like, people don't realize that there are so many fields that you can work on by learning math, by getting a degree in math. You gotta understand, actually. Just by having a degree doesn't mean that you are superior, you are the greatest guy. You have to have a personal, how to say, a project that you have to do. And I talked with ChatGPT for a while, and he said that AI said that, you know, uh, he gave me an example. So there is a model called Black Scholes. So basically, Black Scholes is like, predicting what will be the favorable chance for the option price to go up or down. Like, we give some conditions to it. We check. So basically, option price is like this. So there might be so many call options, and there are so many put options, and you analyze the market, and you basically get an idea on what to do, and you get like three strike prices, like three option chains, and what you do is that you compare all of it, and check its probability and get an idea on which strike price is gonna hit easier and better. So they're using basic mathematics there. They're using something known as probability distribution. They're checking some volatility stuff. I don't clearly, I haven't clearly learned about those things. And I'm learning about those things. Like, I can't just jump right in, right? Like, I'm just 18, and right now my schools are finished. Like, in India, you have 12th, right? Like, the final year of school is 12th. I finished it, and my plans to get a degree in mathematics or physics. I could take both because I just need the concept. But I I clearly say that mathematics is better than physics because you get the idea, you get what you need to get. In physics, you just learn some model creation. So you are given a problem and you gotta find a way to solve it. So physics actually helps in that kind of stuff. So you know it actually helps. But I could take both of them. I'm not greedy or something like that. But yeah, that was my goal, to be a quant trader, not a quant researcher. Like, I don't wanna. I'm not saying I don't wanna burn my head out, but I gotta challenge myself. Like, I gotta look at the market and ask myself, what is the market gonna do next? What is people who are trading gonna do next? What happens here? What is the reason of this happening? So basically, questions. You gotta challenge yourself by asking questions that actually blows up a normal people's mind. Like, when usually in my friend group, I am the only one who, like, exactly saying, in my school, I will say that I might be the only one who is actually taking this thing seriously. Like, actually getting into a quant field. Okay, and when always my friends talks about becoming a doctor, becoming a lawyer, becoming like a taking a politics as their degree and stuff like that, and I don't usually yap about my plans because they don't understand, they don't get it. Like, you feel me, like they don't get it, they don't understand it. But there are some friends of mine who actually understand what I'm saying. you know Basic understanding, because they have brain. I feel like that character in Dragon Ball Z. What was that? Frieza. Yeah, Frieza. Actually, a racist motherfucker. Can't lie. But you know, like that. And my plan is to I'm gonna take mathematics and a data science program. I think I've heard that you can take two programs at once. Like, with mathematics, you can take data science. I've seen some notices throughout online and throughout newspapers saying that you can get into this college with to take math and at the same time, minor as data science in data science, minor in data science. I thought that would be good because I get what I need, and that is actually what I need. And I'm planning to get to that point. So for that, I need to work for a bit. I have a bit of leave after 12. I gotta take a leave because it's been how do I say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So basically 14 years I've been in school. So basically I need a time of break. And what I plan to do is that I gotta really understand the market and make some models, and I gotta learn coding because in data analysis, in my understanding, coding is really neat because if you need to get like the Monte Carlo simulations to understand, you know to explain the strategy in codes in variables, you gotta know how to code. So my plan for now is to learn coding and get in depth, like to understand, to modify my understanding of the market. And yeah, that is it. But when I explain to people of me becoming a quant, especially my teachers, I was one time in my school, like there were only like 4, 5, 6 kids. I think basically saying 30 kids in school because there was a thing going on in our town. So buses were stopped. So some kids far away from our places was not coming to school, and we were sitting in the class, and our chemistry teacher, like one of my favorite teachers to be honest, was asking everyone a question. What do you want to be when you grow up? Everyone said doctor, engineer, marine engineer. I only heard some different things from my friends. Like, uh, if I if, if I say it, I would say that my friends are the only one who have creative minds on what to become. Okay, and when the teacher came up to me and asked me what you want to be when you grow up, I said to them I wanna be a quant. And my teacher was like, "What is a quant?" And I explained it to them. It's like basically I said, you have a model, you predict stock market and make money out of it. And our career guidance teacher got in. Like my teacher called the career guidance teacher in my school, and they asked me what is quantitative finance, and I explained to them this thing is like this. You can make stuff like this, to predict this, that, and they understood it. And since then, I was like a spotlight. Like actually, teachers, especially my math teacher, like I like my math stuff. So so it's like really great to me. He understands. Like even though I don't get great marks in mathematics, I actually understand the theory behind it and I actually use it. Okay, I don't put waste to it. Like especially saying mathematics is a hard field, but if you understand concepts and know how to use it, you're actually great at math. Okay, in my way, it is like that. You don't need to have like crazy marks to determine that you are a great person in math. If you want to be great in math, you gotta understand the concepts. You gotta understand. You gotta thoroughly understand the concepts. Like even though you like if you don't get good marks in math, it actually means that you don't understand the concept, right? But there's a factor known as tension and stress, which actually destroys the exam. Can't like that. Can't like about that fact. You know. But still, I want to be a qual when I grow up, and I will work hard to be that. And I'll be that. I'll show them. There's some other goals like what actually Trader has to buy a car, to create a family. You know, I was saving, bro. Leave me alone, type shit. You feel me? But you know, shit like that. I want to be a clown when I grow up. I'll work my ass off. I'll understand. I will learn. If Even if I don't become that, that might be a terrible part. If I don't become that, what would I become? That is pretty bad. But I'll be that. I will try my best. Inshallah. I will try my actual best to become one. And I've been working for it, but lately I've been getting distracted by playing games and stuff like that. So today I just deleted every game from my PC and actually logged in and made a timetable. Like I actually say, I was when I actually after that loss I had, that 2,000 rupees loss I had, I actually logged in. Okay, I actually logged in my life. I I had a timetable for school and at the same time for trading and stuff like that. I actually logged in. I had a timetable. I got really good marks. But when my teacher said to stop these things, and my mom actually got serious about it and made me stop doing this shit, I actually lost everything. Okay, I lost my peace. Like, I'm a guy, if someone stops me doing from what I like, that actually destroys what I liked to do. So basically, don't destroy someone's likings. Like, if they like it and they actually focus on it, that doesn't mean they're getting bad at one thing. They're just managing stuff, right? But it actually destroyed my understanding and everything. And I actually got, how do I say, into a bad mood, into a depressing state all the time. Wait a second, what did I just do? Okay, I got into a depressing state. I didn't know what to do. Okay, I didn't know actually what to do. I actually lost so many marks because of that. I was stressed out because I didn't have that streak to do. Like, I didn't have that serious thing to do. Like, judge everyone judged me because they thought I would lose everything. But no, what I lost was my peace, my way of understanding something, my goal. Right? They destroyed it. Now I'm blaming on them. To be honest, I'm blaming on them. I had great marks when I was studying, and I had this thing managed. But every time I learn, and after that I get into charts, my mom always see me doing this thing, and I can't blame her. I can't blame her. I'm just doing this thing whenever she's in front of me, and she's saying that you're always doing this, that, and I'm like a above average guy in marks and stuff like that. And she actually, said that you gotta stop doing this thing and actually lock in on school. And okay, I said, I will manage it. I won't stop doing this. I will manage it. But when my teacher told me to do that, my mom actually got serious about it and actually made me stop doing this. And how much time? If I lose some marks in my finals, I can't say this as an excuse, right? That is so lame, right? That is actually lame. But it's the reality. It is the actual reality. But yeah, I will never give up. In this channel, I just teach you guys what I understand about the market. I won't be saying that Oh, I won't start my videos like, okay, today I'm going to teach you about liquidities, premium discounts, holding profiles, and this strategy actually shows this result, stuff like that. In the previous video, I actually messed up my codes. Like, I think the problem was my library, like how is it, provider who gives the data. I didn't actually, you know, apply that feature because I actually didn't type it. I think I can't say it in online, but I used a library to get the data, but I didn't actually type it out. I don't think I gotta check it. But in the future, I will actually show you guys how to do it, like how to, basically do it. Like I wouldn't show the big stuff, but I will just show something simple, like a EMA strategy or DEMA strategy, coded and tested. The results might not be true or something like that, but you gotta trust your work, right? You gotta trust on what you did and actually do something, right? Yeah. So, yeah, and one thing I gotta say, even if I don't make it, even there might be a chance that we can't say that we always live all the time, right? I could just die any moment right now. I could just say goodbye any moment right now. But we can't just say that. But so for that reason, I'm gonna give you guys a lesson. So don't hear what other people says about you. Okay, you might be really good at something, and if people find it like lame or something like that, they would just start yapping about everything. They would just start saying shit like, okay, don't do that, that is actually bad, that is not good for our nose. Don't give a fuck about that. Just do what you like. Okay? If you like trading, do it. Learn it. It is just a skill to achieve. And if you want to take it more seriously, learn about quant stuff. Learn about modeling. Learn about data analysis in the market. Do it and show them. And I will show myself. Right now, I'm just 18 and I don't have anything to prove. I'm just learning this kind of stuff. And I will prove for to everyone that I'm gonna make it and I'm gonna get to that level no matter what. So this is my motivation. Like I can just watch it every day. This video, like even if you guys don't watch it, if I watch it, like I can just reflect on myself. If tomorrow I didn't do anything and I just watch this video, I just feel regret. Like it is just I wasted some time on doing nothing, right? Like today, I wasted so many hours of my time. I played a game for 4 hours, which is actually pretty bad for my situation. Okay, so yeah, because of that, I deleted every game in my PC and stuff like that. You know, I will never give up on doing what I like to do. This is actually a curious place. Like I like how you say I as I told you guys, I like complex stuff. I like to think. I like to be in pressure and to do decision according to that. Like it is just what I like to do. Basically, I play a lot of chess. It is a stress game. Okay, even if you don't take it seriously, if you play it, you really get stressed out. I went to a match in 2025, and I actually lost the match. But what is like, I only won one game with a bad player. Like he was a total noob. I think he came for the program because he can cut, his classes and stuff like that. But he was a great player. We played a bit, but I checkmated him. But the rest of the game, everyone was like really great at what they're doing. They were like 1,000 elo rated. I was at that time. I was like, I was 800, and this actually backfired me. But losing is nothing. But what I find positive, what I find so motivating about this is that I actually didn't give up. Okay, I actually lost so many pieces because I did something wrong. But at the same time, how do I say? I actually reflected on that, and I said to myself, "Yeah, I'm gonna lose. Just resign." That right there is aura. Like you're resigning a game in the middle of losing. It's just it. You understand your mistake. You lose. You are going to lose. You can't do anything. At that time, you gotta accept the fate. I, I actually did really great. Like we had clocks, okay? We had that timer, and whenever I only won one match. I played like 6 matches. I only won one match, which is which is actually bad. And I lost 5 games. You gotta know that. That is so stressful thinking about losing. But I didn't think about the fact that I lost the game, but I I resigned. Okay, I low key I was low key. Like I was like looking at the board and I thought, oh, I'm gonna lose this game. And I thought about a moment, I thought for a moment and just played some shit. And I just stop the clock, give it their hand, give them a win. Like that is aura right there. That is basic aura. You can't deny that. I reflected on my own mistakes and I actually said, okay, I'm gonna lose. I can't do anything. I can't be angry about that because I made my own mistakes. So I gotta follow and I gotta learn from it. I learn from it. You know, I actually accepted my loss, and I resigned like a good man. I actually shake their hands. I told them how did I play, and do you have anything to say about my playing style? And they actually gave me some advices on how to be better, and I learned that, and I'm doing pretty good. But yeah, like that, you gotta reflect on your own mistakes, even though if it might be like small mistakes, but it can make your life pretty better. Okay, it can make your life really better, 1,000 times better, even million times better. It could be small stuff, bro. Okay, it could be small. So here, let me tell you an example. This might be stupid example, but imagine you're making a cookie and you accidentally put rat poison in it. That is a mistake, right? If you don't actually, imagine you actually eating that shit, then dying. That is a mistake right there. This is example, bro. I can't actually, you know, reflect on what do I gotta say, but let me say this. So imagine this liquidity zone right here. If you say, oh, the market's going to reverse, but at the same time it came down because of the volume, blah blah blah. And you said, oh, this market is going to reverse because you see that when the volume, the how to say the PBI, the positive how to say volume index actually became negative, and here you saw a volume spike in here, and you thought, oh, the buyer's going to go up, and you bought here, and you lost money because it stopped you, and you're going to reflect on that, saying, oh my god, I did a shitty trade, I'm going to take a break. But what you gotta do is that you gotta learn from your mistake. Like you gotta understand what you did wrong. Because here you can see correctly that even if the volume increased, the trend continued on its own path. Basically, this is a BOS, a breakup structure. And if it breaks the structure, it is gonna continue downwards. Not gonna lie, it is gonna continue downwards, and we can't deny it. Okay, we can't deny it. I actually think I made a profit here. Yeah, I made a profit here. Because, when I came right here, I my TP, my stop take profit was right here. And when at the time I saw this spike in buyers, like you can see that after this candle was relatively low volume than others, and the green color spiked. But before this green color candle formed, I just put my stop loss here. I didn't understand the market's gonna go up. and gonna reverse and stuff like that. But after that, I actually jotted it down in my Excel sheet. I took it here. I gotta update. I gotta make this much more better because I think it is a bit destroyed and stuff like that. And here, where was it? Where was it? I think not here. I think. Let me check it. Now there you go. So I jotted it down here. Yeah, but I didn't write why I left from this trade here. I will write it down, but I actually understood. I talked, with the AI, and I said the reason, and it was valid. It is actually understandable. So that is one mistake that you gotta clean. But yeah, this is it. Always reflect on your mistakes. Always ask a question. Don't stop asking questions because it actually helps you a lot in the future. Even though I'm 18 years old and I haven't experienced that much, but still, it is actually a true fact that you gotta ask questions for yourself and for your own good. Like, it actually helps a lot. You gotta reflect on your mistakes, you gotta understand what you did wrong, and you gotta make it right. Even if you can't make it right, you gotta find a way to not make it much more bad in every kind of situation, not in trading. If you're a hardcore gamer, you gotta reflect on your mistakes. If you are a like a how do you say a, a how do you say bodybuilder, you gotta reflect on your mistakes. If you are like a construction worker, like an architecture, you gotta reflect on your mistake. Like there is so many reasons that you gotta reflect on your mistakes because it actually helps. It actually helps you. Okay, so by saying that, and I'm gonna say this again. When I grow up, I want to be a quant, no matter what, and I'll try my best to become that. And I can actually watch this video again and again in the future, or right now, or tomorrow. Basically, my past self. Like right now, this video is like my past self motivating my future self. Like I can just say, "Oh, I'm here. I'm the past dude. You gotta, bro. You gotta work. My work is finished right now. You gotta do that." And I actually wrote a letter for myself. Like I actually read it when I wake up. There you go. So this is like a basic letter I wrote myself, and there is more in my journals. And yeah, when I feel demotivated or something like that, I just go and read that letter, and I just you know be I just how to say fire up. And I think this video will help me on that too. And I think you guys also gained something from this. So yeah, I'm signing out. Bye guys. Bye. Okay. So let me put up a how do you say hard line here, and I'm gonna just say something like, stand proud, you are strong.